Hello, my name is David Gallardo Perez.
It is such an honor to meet you. Thank you for this opportunity. Where and when were you born?
I was born in Bisbee, Arizona, March 1st, 1920. Right now I'm 105 years old. Well, to me it feels good, you know. I just wanted to live and see my family. I want to see what's going on with this world. During the Depression, we were in Bisbee, Arizona, and my daddy worked in the mines there. And during the Depression, my mother, my dad lost his job. That was in 1929. That was 14 of us in the family.
From Bigsby, Arizona, how do you guys make it to California?
Well, my dad, my dad, he had just bought a car, a Ford, 1929 Ford. See that? And when he lost his job, so we came to California. My dad said, "We're going to go to Arizona to go see your mother, and then after that, we might go to Mexico and live there." But instead, we came to California. Then we just stay here. We forgot to go. We didn't want to go back anymore.
What year did you come here?
Could you please tell us about the kind of things that you would do for fun as a kid growing up?
Well, my dad had a baseball team, a grown-up team, and then he made a boys team, and we used to play ball. We used to play a lot of baseball when we were young. That's what we did. That's what we used to do. Then what we used to do, we used to ride horses over. We used to ride horses in, in Arizona, and so we had a lot of fun doing that. But we didn't have. We had time just doing things like that, going into out. Now everything was like cattle and horses. They were wild there in Arizona, so we used to go out and we used to get some, and then we used to ride horses.
Before the war broke out, before Pearl Harbor, what was your dream, Mr. Perez? What were you hoping to do with your life?
Well, at that time I didn't know, but I just thought I used to see, like my dad worked hard and all that stuff, and I said, geez, I hope I don't, my life a little better than his. His hard work, and he was family to raise.
Could you please tell us the story of how you ended up in the military?
Well, when I was drafted. I was drafted into the military, and so then I got a letter from the veterans that I was drafted, and that I was going to be. They were going to send me some letters to know what I'm going to do, tell me what to do, and what are you going to do, and where are you going to be at. So then I knew. They sent me a letter, and I got the letter. And they sent me to the veterans office, and they told me that, well, he said, you're going to get another letter. So I got the letter, and they told me that I was going to be stationed in Camp Roberts, and that I was going to be there for my training. And there he says they're going to give you your equipment, like your uniforms and your whatever it was. But then they didn't have no equipment. They didn't have rifles. They didn't have all that stuff to train. They didn't have machine guns. Everything that was posted was in the blackboard, and it was wooden rifles. All wooden rifles, not the real stuff. until later they gave us the real rifles. So that was it right there.
Because you were drafted very early. You were drafted even before Pearl Harbor.
Yes, yes. I was drafted into the Army in 1941, before Pearl Harbor.
So when you were in the Army, how did you hear about the attack on Pearl Harbor?
Well, I heard it in the news. I was in the paper, and then I heard it in the radio. You know, we had my training there in Camp Roberts. Then after Pearl Harbor, they said us, well, we're going to go now. We're going to go. I guess they didn't tell us, but we were going to the Philippines. But then the Philippines fell to the Japanese, and then we had no place to go but Hawaii. So then we had to land in Hawaii. So then we were training there. That's where we trained. And then from there, after training there, we went to, they said, well, this is the thing now. I says, we're going to go out to fight now. After Hawaii, we went to Saipan and Okinawa. That's where we had the two wars there. So we got Saipan first, and then we got Okinawa, and that's when we were fighting. Well, that's when we got started.
And could you please tell us, what unit were you a part of?
Well, I was the medic in the service, and then, you know, I was
in what division?
I was in the 27th Division.
And that's a New York outfit.
That was the Fighting 69th and the 165th Division.
Your first action was Saipan.
Yes.
Could you please tell us about going into Saipan? What do you remember about the invasion?
Well, we were, they put us in one of those landing boats, you know, and then they come into waves. I think there's 6 waves at a time when they go in. You go into them. We were there, and then they said, okay, first division, go. So we were the first division in that boat, so then we go in, but then there was a lot of fighting, you know, at the time. Then they start bombing. You know, the Japanese start fighting. But we landed, we were pretty lucky. We landed pretty good there in Saipan. And after that, we fought for a while until we captured Saipan.
Could you please tell us about some of your memories on Saipan, treating the wounded? Well,
it was pretty hard, you know. One thing I'll never forget, you hear a lot, and all you see on the fighting guns, medics, 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 and all these bullets firing, you know. But that's what you hear most of the time when you're in there, because it's not casualties, you know. So they need medics, so they could, medics, 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 we need you. So you get ready, they got to send you with you know, where they're hurt. We were the company, but they need sometimes in another company because they're pretty well surrounded, you know. So we fought a lot. You know, I carry a rifle with me. Well, at that time I said I carry a rifle and a 45 gun, and but the reason I got the rifle is because I didn't trust, you know, so I carried my rifle and my gun. They told me that gun, your 45 you have there, issue in your foxhole, if somebody comes at night, it's hard to get that rifle and start shooting. but you can use your gun. He says it's easier to use your gun. You can shoot. It's easier for you.
And so usually medics were not allowed to carry weapons. So what was the reason you carried the weapons?
I carried a weapon because I wanted to shoot too. But the guys used to tell me, I was with the infantry, you know, as a medic. But then I used to be on the back of the company. I was in I think it was I company. I think it was I or H company. Anyway, I was there, and then they let's see,
I think you were mentioning that the Japanese were not trustworthy because they would.
That's right.
They would fire at.
That's
medics.
right, and they didn't. They said that they gave us
The Red Cross.
But he says, I don't know about that Red Cross. He says that's a good thing to shoot at. I was like myself, you know. There was a time when they made a big mistake with as a medic. They called and they said, we need a medic. We need a medic. We need a medic. We were here. We're surrounded, and we can't make it. So then I got the message, and they said, Mr. Pert, you got to go into this spot with they're in trouble, so they need medics. So then they sent me there. I went there. And they look at me and say, what are you doing here? Well, they call me that they need medics, so they send me, you know, to, says, no, says, they made a mistake. He says, it was another company that had the problems. They were trapped. He says, they were trapped in a hill. There were 18 of them, 18 of them. And that's when we got together from the, as they say, because these guys up there, they were up for a while on that hill. They couldn't get down because they were surrounded by the Japanese, 18 foot. And then we finally start bombing the place. Artillery and fighting with the whole thing was fighting, just shooting, and finally the Japanese dispersed, you know, from that hill. And then after that, the whole company, and that company, and I know about 9 medics, we run into it and went right into the hill because it was clear then, because we just started fighting too, you know. We just kept fighting, going to that hill. We just kept fighting, you know. And then there was no Japanese there. So we went up that hill, and those guys out there all nervous and everything else. And they were 4 of them were wounded. Well, when we got there, up at the hill, and we looked at it, there were 4 that were wounded up there, and then the 14 were all nervous. They was, you know, just waiting there. Oh yeah, we got them because, you know, you have to get them because they were wounded.
He won't repeat it again.
He won't say he rescued them.
It's hard to see how he's getting here.
Yeah, we arrested all of them. We arrested all of them, but then we had to call. We had to carry someone those
Litter bearers.
Litter bearers.
With the stretchers.
Yeah, we had to call them to get all the ones that were wounded, and a few that were not wounded. You know, we called the company, send the barriers. We need some barriers to carry the ones that are hurt. It says they need to be saved. So that we finally got the little barriers, and they went up there. And then after that, we got him down, and I was one of the last ones to come down because we had to wait till everybody was clear, and I saw till the last one came down.
When you went there originally, you were by yourself, and then you were under fire, right? When you rescued those 4 men, the Japanese were still firing.
No, that was fine, but they had leave, you know, but they were because we couldn't. They were surrounded. They had these guys surrounded. They could get close. We couldn't even get close until the reason we got close to them was they put that heavy artillery, you know, all those.
Do you remember their injuries? The 4 men, where they were wounded?
Oh, well, they were wounded, you know, most of them around, you know, and the legs, you know. But that wasn't. I don't think I didn't see a serious one, because we would look at the ones around that are more serious. So we got to get to that one first. So we look at him, we clear them up. They get blood, you know, they're all full of blood. So we get that, clean them up, and then just treat them. Yeah, if they're in pain, are you in pain? We give them
Morphine.
Morphine. Yeah, but if there's something wrong, we don't give them.
So after this incident, could you please tell us about some of the other things that occurred on Saipan? They talk about the caves.
Oh, yeah.
What do you remember about the caves?
Well, the only thing you could do is they were all mountain fighting. So we used to go up there and, you know, either get them out by. That's what bad thing they used to do, flamethrowers. You know, get them out of the caves, flamethrowers. Guys could come burn, they come out, run out, and then we threw those grenades.
Did you see the flamethrowers being used?
Yeah, but we didn't use them too much. But we used them afterwards. We used some.
And the Japanese would come out?
Yeah, because you know, they had to come out because there was that hot flames coming out, you know, and they were running. We got all the flames. Then we get in it. They throw hand grenades in there to get them out. So we wanted to stay there, you know.
Just take a breather. Your Bronze Star on Saipan, it says that Private Perez exposed himself to heavy enemy mortar fire in order to reach and care for the wounded members of an infantry unit to which he was attached. He left a comparatively covered position and rushed over rocky ground to give first aid and evacuate 4 men of that unit while under heavy enemy fire.
Yeah. You're there, and somebody's hurt. You feel that you want to get there and take care of them, you know, because some of these guys are pretty bad, you know. So you want to get. I wanted to be there and help them, you know.
So I understand the idea of wanting to help someone, but you put yourself in a position where you could have been killed.
Oh yeah.
So how do you get the courage, you know, when the Japanese are firing and you have to go out to go help someone? How do you get that courage to do it?
You have to. Either they shoot you, or hit the ground. You know, that's the only way you do it. But you want to protect yourself. You hit the ground quite a, you know, you hit this bullet, and then you hit the ground sometimes, and then you get up and you run again until you get to some wounded ones that are wounded, because there's always some wounded, you know. But we finally, we finally got to the wounded and saved them, you know.
So you told us about those 4 that you rescued, the 4 wounded, but you were a medic for a long time. Do you remember some of the other wounded men who you helped?
The ones that were wounded, they sent them home. And the other ones, they sent them to rehab. Well, what you have to do, the first thing is you have to clean them up. And then you put, after you clean them up, on the wounds, you put that, what do you call that powder?
Sulfamelanide.
Yeah, you spray them so they won't get infection. Yeah, so we put that on them.
The men who you treated, did they talk to you? What would they say?
Some of them, you know, says, "Oh, thank you," you know, "thank you." But some didn't talk, you know. Some just.
Do you remember the Japanese snipers?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. We used to, like, you know, like we're advancing, you know, we're going, and then I look back, and we passed some of the guys who were left that we didn't watch. They were back there, you know, and we didn't see them. Those are the snipers. That were somewhere on trees, and the others were out there just hiding, and we missed them. But they didn't do no harm, though, because the guys right behind us came, you know, we were in the front, and then we'll get back up, fighters.
Did you ever treat wounded Japanese soldiers?
No, no. I didn't get to see many Japanese soldiers. No, I didn't see.
Because they were all hiding?
They were all retreating until, you know, until afterwards. They just took off, you know. So we didn't get to see them. We didn't get to see them. The only time I saw some of those Japanese, but we were on the line on the hill, and the Japanese were out there, and we know they were there, you know. So we were there, and they were waiting. We were waiting, and then they start coming out with some had guns and some had so.
Bonsai. I think you're talking about the bonsai.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was a big charge.
Big charge. We were ready for them. We had machine guns, like, you know, in that line like that. So when they rush you, you know, but they have a chance because some of them just said, some of them didn't have nothing but the sticks, or if you had rifles, you know. But so we had to. Those guys would just put them, you know, just shooting. Oh, Saipan got taken. Then we went to Okinawa.
You, as a medic, what were you doing during that when the Japanese were attacking?
Well, I was waiting. I was waiting. So, you know, the ones were hurt. If somebody got hurt, you know what I mean. But just hoping that nobody got hurt, you know what I mean. But I was very lucky. We were really lucky. Very few things happened there. We had those machine guns, and everybody had a machine guns or rifles, and those machine guns were and the M1 rifles. They stopped, and then the heavy artillery. Let's see, we were Saipan. Then we say no, we were saying Saipan. Then we said Okinawa. After we captured Saipan and Okinawa, then they sent us to some of those islands. To get over this, like a rehab place, you know, just relax.
So could you tell us about Okinawa? What do you remember about?
Oh, that's another big fight there. The whole fighting. That's all fight. we had to get up. We had to get up in those mountains. The first mountain I went to going up to the cave, and the first thing that I went up there and I saw a sword, one of the big swords, Japanese sword, leaning against the front of the cave. So I saw it and I grabbed it, In fact, I still have that sword.
So the Japanese on Okinawa, they had some very big fortifications, those pillboxes, the bunkers.
Yeah.
What do you remember about when you guys would try to advance and coming across those?
Well, I'll tell you, they didn't have much there was a lot of fighting, but they didn't stand much of a chance because, they were kind of down, you know what I mean? They knew that they didn't have a chance or something because everything just turned toward us, fighting. It wasn't so hard for us. The fighting was for us more.
Well, Okinawa, when you guys were there, it was their rainy season, and they had a lot of rain and mud.
Yeah.
What was that like, living in the ground with all the rain and the mud?
That was very hard because, then we had one of those what do you call them, like those raincoats, and wear those, and then you get into the foxhole, and that was all mud, it was wet. So we used to get muddy and wet,
Do you remember witnessing the kamikazes, the Japanese planes?
Maybe a few would see, and we used to see. We used to see in the hills when they were fighting. We were up there in the hill. We used to look up and just say, "Oh, please, don't come down, don't come down." They were fighting. The planes, they were shooting at each other. So some we lost a few and they lost some, but but we finally got them though. They didn't have a chance,
Could you please tell us the story of how you were wounded on Okinawa? What happened?
The way I got wounded in Okinawa was a shell shock, one of those bombs that were shooting, heavy artillery, heavy landing by us, Lucky that we didn't get much bombing would come from them. But I got dead. Then I got a shell shock, I guess. I went, out. And you could see, you get those bombs, and then said we're close by, and they you're laying like this, and you're jumping like this. Well, see, I was in a coma. I couldn't do nothing. I was just like asleep 5 days.
And so this was one of the Japanese shells landed close to you.
Yes.
Was anyone else with you?
Well, there were soldiers around there, but I had a few casualties, but nothing, big. But we do have casualties. But we finally got them. No, they sent me to the field hospital after I got over it, and then from a field hospital, they had the ships, made ships. They were made into hospitals. These ships, drop ships, they were made to hospitals, and that's how they transport you send you to Hawaii, and from Hawaii they send you back home. But they had all this all these things ready for you. From Okinawa, we went to the islands for rehab.
Could you please tell us, just to jump back earlier to when your basic training in Camp Roberts?
Camp Roberts, yes.
Could you tell us a little bit more about what that training was like?
Well, I'll tell you, that was during the winter. And it was raining. And I had a big bags in the back carrying about five 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, we go out at night. There was a river. There's a river there in San Miguel. So we used to go in there, and we used to go to the sides, raining and muddy. We used to go as far as almost to Cake City then we came back in the morning. Rest for a little while, have something to eat. There's rations, and that's all we did then. And they every day we weren't ready for war.
The American Army before Pearl Harbor was the 18th largest. It was number 18. It was very small. Uruguay had a bigger army. Do you remember, though, after Pearl Harbor, did the people in California, did you all feel the Japanese were going to invade?
No, we didn't see none of that. When we got to there, and they had machine guns on the beach in Honolulu, on the islands. They had machine guns. They had soldiers stationed, around the beach that's there. So in case they come, start shooting, I guess, start fighting. But they didn't have no fighting.
Your brothers, were any of them in the war also?
Yeah. I had let's see, 1, 2, 3. He got killed in the battle, one of my brothers in Germany.
Wait, can you say that again? One of your brothers?
Yeah, he got killed there. And I couldn't understand. I cried because they sent him with 5 kids. They had 5 kids, and they sent him to fight.
What was his name?
His name was Macario Perez.
And how old was he when he was overseas?
Oh hell, he was he was the second one.
And so when did you find out he had been killed?
I found out when I was in service. I was in Okinawa then. I got a letter from my mother, that he was killed.
Could you tell us what kind of person was he? His
Oh,
personality?
he was a good father, with 5 kids. I used to have a Union Station, gasoline. This is a picture of myself from World War II. I was taken in Hawaii, some 105.
That's incredible. So this is 84 years ago.
84 years ago.
You look so handsome.
I'm telling you, I'm lucky, that's all.
Someone's looking out for you.
The Lord, brother. The Lord saved me a lot.
Do you want to? I'll borrow that from you. That's a really good point. Before we close, do you want to talk about your faith and how that helped you in the war?
Well, I'll tell you, every day, I pray, even after, if I was fighting, waiting for somebody, I was just hoping that nobody got hurt, so I don't have to go and take care of them, I said, God, please help, but please don't hit nobody. So, and I pray for them, every one of them, and soldiers and all that. And then I for myself, I used to kneel down. I used to pray and pray to the Lord that to save me and save the soldiers, And
you would do that on the front lines.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you remember the prayer that you would say? You're Catholic, right? Do you remember the prayer that you would say?
Our Father. Yeah. And Hail Mary. And then I made some myself.
That's very powerful. I did mean to ask you, are there any other the story after you were injured and you went to the field hospital. Can you tell us about coming back to California and seeing your family for the first time?
Oh man, I'm telling you, I couldn't believe it. We landed about 5 o'clock in San Francisco, and they were all waiting in line there. There was a lot of people at the wharf there where we landed, and they had they had hot dog, hamburgers, and sodas for us when we got there. So we had some of that stuff to eat. My folks, man, oh man, I couldn't believe it, you know. I started crying, you know. Oh, maybe, I don't know.
So did your parents meet you in San Francisco?
Yes,
When you got off the boat?
yeah. From San Francisco, and then I stayed with they, we stayed about a few days. Then they sent me to Merced. They sent us there to rehab. We didn't do nothing. All this eat, sleep, and rest. That's all we did. So they kept us there doing nothing.
So your parents and your siblings, when they saw you for the first time, was that in San Francisco then?
Yeah.
And do you remember, like, where did you meet them?
No, they were at the wharf there.
At the okay, so they definitely met your boat.
Yeah.
Oh wow! And
Yeah.
you spot them easily?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's a big family, right?
Ah.
14 people. You're 16. Okay. So, is there any advice that you would like to give future generations? Life advice.
You know that you're going to fight. You know that you might get killed. So the best thing to do is take care of yourself and take care of your friends around you. Always be alert, you know, and you can't be fooling around. So this is your life. They're shooting at you, and you have to shoot at them. You can't be, you know, taking chances for anything. When I was young, when I got out of service, I got kind of rough. I was young, and I started drinking, you know, and I thought later on I thought I said, what the hell am I doing, you know? You're killing yourself. So I quit drinking. I never smoked, and I quit drinking, and that's what I think of all these people right now. Leave that stuff off. Lay off of those bad guys. Lay off of that smoking. Lay off of that drinking. That's bad for you. We don't think so, you know. And we take what we eat, what we drink, with sodas, candies, sweet stuff. You got to watch all that stuff. You know, you got to be careful because it's easy to get candy, easy to sweet bread, sodas, you know, all that stuff. You can get it at any time. And I said, it's easy. I said, but you don't want to do that. You want to lay away from that. Once in a while, I said, fine, but that's all. Not every day, you know. You cannot get away without thinking of your family, because your family comes first. Even when you're in war, you're thinking of your family all the time. You're fighting and you're treating people, but you're thinking of people. You think, Jesus. But we're thinking about this. None of my brothers was, you know. But that's what you got to think about. One thing you have to do, you have to be honest and respect people. And you got to be, you know, they treat everybody the same. Treat a small guy, a middle guy, a grown-up guy, treat them all the same. They're all grown up, and they're all going to see what's going to happen. So you got to be treating the kids nice and tell them, if you have a chance when they talk to you, you know, if they talk about something, you know, but talk to them about, like they asked me, you know, I just remember as we were advancing, you know, and I'd always stay behind the lines. I mean, behind the next guy and soldiers. And I used to tell the soldiers, you guys take care of me. you guys are in the back of me. I'm on the same front of you, so you guys are in the back of me, so take care of me, you know. I said, because somebody might shoot me and you guys could save me. They said, so I said, oh, David is coming. David, we're going to take care of you. You're not going to get hurt. I said, well, that's what I want. So make sure. Because remember, I said, there's guys out there. There's snipers, like you say. These guys are waiting. They can shoot anybody. They're not going to pick anybody. They're going to shoot. They don't care. The Stone Assistant soldiers, they're going to shoot it in. So it might be me. Who knows?
You're very blessed, that's for sure.
That's true.
Thank you so much for your guys' time.
See, I sure thank you. Very nice of you to come over and chamber you like this.
Oh, no, it's an
Yeah.
honor. I